Welcome to Sports Talk with R&J. I'm Steve Risser along here with Justin D'Onofrio, and we are here. It's Thanksgiving is tomorrow, and we got 3 games on the slate. We got 3 Thanksgiving Day games, and we got to start in Detroit like we always do. We got to start in Detroit with the Lions and the Packers. It's a rematch of a game from Week 1 where the Packers won by two scores. Could have even been 3 scores because the Lions scored a touchdown late in the game. But it's an interesting matchup. Who would have thought these two not one of these two teams would be in first place, though? The Bears are in first place in their division, Lions, but the Lions and Packers are really close. Lions a game behind at 7-4, Packers a half game behind at 7-3-1. And this should be a really competitive game. It should be a really close competitive game between these two teams. I think that both quarterbacks are going to have decent games. But I think the difference in this game is going to be the run game. The run game is going to be the difference. I think Jahmyr Gibbs is going to have he didn't have a good game in the first game, but I think he's going to have a really good game this time around. I think Jahmyr Gibbs is going to have a really good game this time around, and I think that's going to be the difference. I think that's going to be the difference in them winning or losing the game. And I think this game is going to be tied late in the fourth quarter, and I think the Lions defense will make a play. Aiden Hutchinson will make a play, and then at the end, I think Jared Goff leads them on a game-winning drive. And I got the Lions getting revenge from Week 1. And I got them beating the Packers 23-20 in Detroit tomorrow afternoon. But Justin, can the Packers sweep the Lions and put themselves in a really good spot to win the NFC North?
I have the Lions here as well, 27-23. I think in this one, you saw it last week, like Jameis Winston was able to kind of expose that Lions secondary that's pretty banged up right now. I don't know if Jordan Love can do that because it doesn't feel like they kind of want him to at times, and I don't know if they're gonna be exploited like the Giants did last week. So, I wouldn't be shocked if the Packers knock them off again. But I think the Lions at home here, Jared Goff plays well. I know the Green Bay defense played pretty well last week, and they looked a lot better. But I think the Packers do have a decent game offensively. I think Jared Goff plays even better. Worry is too the Lions coming off an OT game, but they were at home too, so short week with that. But I just think the way I know Detroit's defense banged up, but I just never. I guess you could say you don't know what you're gonna get from either of these two teams, but I'll trust the Lions more because they're at home in this one. Because the Packers have been very up and down. You never know what you're gonna get from them. I expect a good effort, but I'm gonna take Detroit because they're at home.
You made a good point. You really don't know what you're going to get from either team, and that's true. The Packers, you've said it, they've been very up and down all season long. They've been up and down all year. Even though they're 7-3-1, they have been very up and down. I mean, they've lost games they should have won. Like they lost the Panther game, they lost the Brown game, and they tied the Cowboys in Micah Parsons' return to Dallas. And you're right, and the Lions too. I mean, last week they very easily could have lost. They very easily could have lost to the Giants. When this team has gone on the road, they have not played well. They got beat by 2 scores to the Packers. They lost the Eagles, and they got beat by 2 scores to the Chiefs. So yeah, the Lions are not as good as they were last year. As you said, the secondary and the interior of the O-line are definitely a question mark for this Lions team. They don't have as good of a roster as they did last year. They don't have the coordinators they had last year with Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson. So they are not as good as they were last year. And the Packers have been very up and down. So yeah, you don't know what you're going to get from these two teams, but I'm going to go with the home team here. I think it's going to be a really close competitive game, but I'm going with the home team to win 23-20.
Yeah, I'm with you. I get the Lions as well here, and yeah, the coordinator's been kind of a loss. I know Dan Campbell's taking over the play calling duties a couple weeks ago. Another thing too, like I know didn't do a ton lot, but like the 4th down calls too from Campbell at times, it's like he ran the
Oh,
fake punt a week ago to the Eagles. It's like, dude, you're not gonna fool anybody anymore on that stuff. Like you do it all the
no.
time. You're not catching
Yeah.
anybody napping. So
Yeah.
that's the other thing with Detroit too. If 4th down, if that comes down to it in this game as well.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. Yeah. If they struggle on 4th down, I think they could be going for. I think they could be going for it a lot because that's what Dan Campbell does. He didn't get in that situation a lot last week, but he did the week before. Yeah, they're in 4th down. They're gonna be going for it a lot.
Yeah, and that can be a problem in games, and especially big. That's what cost them that Super Bowl a couple years ago against the Niners. He just kicks a field goal, they probably win the football game. But
Yeah,
I get
exactly,
being
exactly.
aggressive, and it cost them.
Yeah, and yeah, it completely fell apart for him. It absolutely fell apart for him. So the question is though with this game, both these teams are not. Neither of these teams are in first place, which is kind of a surprise because we thought going into this, at least either one of these two teams would be in first place. But the Bears are in first place right now. But the question is should the winner of this game be the favorite to win the division? And I'm gonna say yes. I'm gonna say yes because because I think Chicago's going to fall off a little bit. They got Philly this week. They got the Packers 2 more times. They got the 49ers. So I do think Chicago is going to fall off a little bit. I don't think they're going to win the division. And I think that whoever wins this game, I do think they're in the best position to win the division. I do think the winner of this game is in the best position because Green Bay still's got to play Detroit, and I mean still's got to play Denver, and Detroit has a lot of their tough games. A lot of their tough games are out of the way. So like, say the Packers win, they got a game and a half. They lead by a game and a half against the Lions, and say that the Lions win, they overtake the Packers, and their schedule is pretty outside of the Rams is pretty favorable. Outside of the Rams and Bears, pretty favorable because they got the Cowboys at home. They got the Steelers at home. I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say the winner of this game should be the favorite to win the NFC North.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think the winner of this game should be the favorite to win the North. Yeah, because the Bears' schedule gets a little bit tougher. We'll see what they're made of here. And I know the Packers too. They still got Denver. They still got Chicago still. But that tie could come back to haunt them if there's a tiebreaker at the end here.
That's the thing. Say they beat the Lions twice, and they end up, and they would end up tied, and they end up losing. Yeah, that tie could come back to haunt them. And that's a game they should have won too.
Yeah, it should have been. So that could come back to bite them, down the road here. But yeah, the Lions too. Like, I know the Cowboys, that could mean a whole lot for Dallas. But if they lose, their season's probably over. And so I think all three teams got a couple tough ones on the stretch. But yeah, I think kind of the winner of this one, because you've kind of known it I've been kind of saying the last couple weeks. I still don't believe in the Bears. We're gonna find out in the next couple weeks how real this football team is. So. I'm with you. I think the winner of this game wins the NFC North, or should be the favorite to win it.
I agree. Yeah, the winner of this game should definitely win the NFC North. Should be a good game between the Packers and Lions tomorrow. But we're going to move on to the Chiefs and the Cowboys. The second game tomorrow between the Chiefs and Cowboys. And this is an interesting game. It's an interesting game. I think this is going to be close. The Trey Smith injury, he's not playing tomorrow. And that's going to be interesting. I think stop the running game. Quentin Williams definitely made a difference. No one can deny Quentin Williams made a difference on the defense, especially in the run game, because they were able to stop the run against the Raiders. They were able to stop the run against the Eagles. So, I mean, Quentin Williams definitely made a difference. So I think they do contain the run. But the issue with the Cowboys defense is if they play zone, Patrick Mahomes is going to pick that zone apart. And I have a feeling they are. Eberflus is going to play zone, and he's going to pick it apart, and the Chiefs are going to get in the 30s. I think Patrick Mahomes throws 3 or 4 touchdown passes here. I do think Dak has a big game as well, though. I think they run the ball well. I think the Cowboys have a big game offensively, but I think this game goes right down to the end, and I think the Chiefs will do what they do in a big game, and the Cowboys will do what they do in a big game. The Chiefs will get it done, and the Cowboys won't, and that's why I'm going Kansas City here. I'm going Kansas City to go to 7-5. Right now, it's a huge game because Kansas City is the 10th seed in the AFC. But I got Kansas City winning this game 31-27 over the Cowboys. But, Justin, can Dak and the Cowboys stay hot and win their third in a row?
I got KC here as well, 24-23. Yeah, Dallas with a nice comeback. I think, give them credit. I think a lot of that was kind of on the Eagles and their struggles of what's going on there right now. But credit Dallas for coming back there down 21-0. And look, the defense has looked a little bit better. They've stopped the run, but Barkley only ran the ball 10 times last week, and you're up 21 points. So I don't we'll get the Eagles, but with the Chiefs too, that pass rush hasn't totally got going yet. Like, this is a game where I know Chris Jones has been pretty quiet all year. This is a game where it'd be great if he can kind of break out and get going here. And George Pickens been a great addition for Dallas. I think Dak does get him the ball if he's got time. But I'm going to take Patrick Mahomes, that Chiefs team. I know they were down 11 last week. It didn't look great. They found a way to win the game. They won a close game for the first time all year. I'm going to take Kansas City to figure out a way to go down to Dallas and win a close one. Yeah,
it's two teams that it'll be a close game, but it's two teams that I think when you get to the end of the game, what team's going to win and I think you're going to get to the end of the game tomorrow. It's going to be close, and you're going to know what team is going to win and what team's going to lose. You're going to the team that always knows how to win in these spots. I know they've struggled this year; they're 1-5 in close games, but the team that usually knows how to win in these big spots is the Chiefs, and the team that usually loses in these big spots against good teams is the Cowboys. And I think that's what's going to happen. I think it might come down to the end. It might come down to a drive where Patrick Mahomes has the ball in his hands and they score a touchdown. It's going to be either two ways for me. Mahomes leads a game-winning drive, or Dak Prescott doesn't get it done against the Chiefs defense. I wouldn't be surprised if the Cowboys win this game, but it's just I just see it's just two teams that just know how to do one thing very well. The Chiefs know how to win big games. The Cowboys know how to lose big games. So that's why I'm going Kansas City.
Yeah, I agree. That's a great point. 'Cause, yeah, Kansas City, I know this year's kind of shown those close games, but with Mahomes, they've got over the hump last week, and you trust them in a close game to figure out a way to win the football game, especially the ball in Mahomes' hands. And yeah, with Dallas, they usually find ways to lose these football games, and it wouldn't have totally shocked me to see it do it again. I think Schottenheimer's done a pretty good job as first year head coach, and I thought it was gonna be a horrible hire. It's so far so good. I think he's done a pretty good job. Um, but yeah, I think this is a game where I'm gonna take Andy Reid on a short week, even though they played overtime last week as well, and now got to travel. But I'm gonna take Andy Reid over Schottenheimer too in a close game.
Absolutely, yeah. No, Schottenheimer's done a really good. Look at that. Look at the offense. He's done a really good job this year. Schottenheimer has done a pretty good job with this team, especially after what they traded right before the season. I mean, you trade their best. You lose your best defensive player, and he's still got him. He's got him at 500. So yeah, Schottenheimer, it's not been a disaster. He's done a decent job. He definitely has. But yeah, in a game like this, if it comes down to Andy Reid and Brian Schottenheimer, you got to take Andy Reid here. But another question going into this game is with both teams being the 10th seed in their conference, the question is the loser of this game going to miss the playoffs? Is the loser of this game going to miss the playoffs? And if it's Dallas, I think yes. I think Dallas needs this. I think Dallas needs this win because if you look at Dallas' schedule, they got Detroit the next week, so they could end up losing that. And then they still got the Chargers too. So I think for Dallas, they need this game. Dallas needs this game. But Kansas City, yes, even if they lose it, they're 6-6. Patrick Mahomes can run off 5 in a row. I trust Kansas City. I trust Kansas City to run off 5 in a row a lot more than I trust Dallas to run off 5 in a row. So I think if Dallas loses it, yes, they miss the playoffs. But if Kansas City loses it, still no, because I can trust Patrick Mahomes to go on a crazy run and win 5 in a row.
Yeah, I agree with Dallas. I think they got to win this game to still have a chance. Because they're another one where they're gonna have to get the 10 wins because 9's not gonna do with that tie. So
Yeah.
they're gonna have to get the 10 wins. And yeah, I know they still got the Chargers, they still got Detroit next week. You should get the Commanders and Giants the last 2 weeks, but I don't know if they'll get there still kind of with a shot here. And yeah, with the Chiefs, it's going to be tough because I know Jacksonville still got the Colts coming up twice. I know they still got Denver. But I think Jacksonville's going to be able to get like a split against Indy and be able to do enough to kind of stay in it. The Texans are playing really good football right now. So maybe, the AFC South the next couple weeks, those three teams might kind of beat each other up and maybe eliminate one or the other. But yeah, like I think they could knock off or they can definitely make it over the Steelers who they're still behind. Buffalo and the Chargers have a ton of injuries. So, yeah, I can't count on Mahomes. And we kind of talked about a week or two ago. The schedule kind of softens up for a bit. I know that, they got the Texans and Chargers, but after that, you got Tennessee and Vegas. And so they do still have the Broncos too there on Christmas Day. But I think the Chiefs, I couldn't totally count them out even if they lose this game.
No, because the thing is down the stretch, a lot of their big games are all at home after this. You got, Houston at home on Sunday night. You got the Chargers at home. You got the Broncos at home. So all their big games after this are at home. So if the Chiefs are out, if the Chiefs lose, I'm not counting them out. But if the Cowboys lose, I am.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you with that. Yeah, it helps that they're going to have Arrowhead and for some of those big games, that's going to be huge for them. So yeah, I can't count out the Chiefs yet. It's gonna be a tough hill to climb, but I think they get out of it. And yeah, with Dallas, I don't think it's happening at 5-6 because you pretty much got to run the table after that, and that's not a given with going to Detroit next Thursday night. That's not a given you can win that football game.
Not at all. So we'll move on to the night game on tomorrow night, and that's between the Bengals and the Ravens. And Joe Burrow is set to make his return against Lamar Jackson. And even though the Ravens have won their last two, Lamar Jackson hasn't looked that good. The Ravens, defensively, they've looked pretty good, but offensively, they haven't looked that good. Bengals, Joe Burrow returns. T. Higgins is out. Jamar Chase is back for the Bengals, but Trey Hendrickson is out. I think this is going to be a close competitive game. I think it is. But I do think at the end of the day, the Ravens are going to win it. They're going to find a way to win. I think Derrick Henry's going to have a big day on the ground. I do think Lamar, I don't think he's a great game. He throws a couple touchdowns. And I think Burrow's a little bit rusty his return. It comes down to the end, but I think the Ravens end up pulling it out. I got the Ravens winning this spot. I got the Ravens here 24-19. But Justin, can Burrow pull the upset in his return to the lineup?
No, I got the Ravens too, 24-17. Yeah, I think you're right about that. Lamar just hasn't looked 100%. Yeah, he's not really taking off and running. I thought that's why the Jets would hang in there last week because I haven't thought the last couple weeks Lamar's been healthy, and I don't know if he is. It's a short week, so it's going to help that they get Rashad Bateman back this week. I think Baltimore does enough in this one, but I can't totally think they blow him out or have an offensive kind of they put up 30 plus even against this defense until I see Lamar's 100%. And yeah, Joe Burrow's probably be rusty in this one. The Ravens defense is playing better. No Jamar Chase. And yeah, they're not gonna have T. Higgins either, right? So
no, they're gonna have Chase. Chase is gonna play.
He's gonna play. Okay.
Higgins is out.
Okay, Higgins out, but Chase is back. Oh yeah, because So like I think it's gonna help to get Chase back or have Chase back out there this week, but I just don't think Joe Burrow. I just think Joe Burrow's gonna be too much rust. He's missed 9 weeks, and how mobile is he gonna be too? Because that offensive line's not getting any better behind him. So I think the Ravens find a way. Lamar's 10-1 all the time against Cincinnati, so he's played well in these they've done well in these matchups.
Yeah, I think the Ravens win here. I think they win their 6th in a row. I think they do, and I think they're in really good position to win the division. This isn't a great division, but even at 1-5, I thought they had a really good chance to win the division, and I think they're going to win the division now. I think they win at home on Thursday night. Tomorrow night, I think they win 24-19 over the Bengals. But we will move on to the Black Friday matchup between the Bears and the Eagles, and the Eagles are a 7-point favorite. I think the Bears cover here. I think this is a close, competitive game. I think that Caleb Williams will make plays, but I think he'll make a mistake or two. And I think the Eagles, Jalen Hurts will play pretty well. I think he'll play pretty well against the Bears defense. I know the Eagles' run game has really struggled all season long, as you saw in the game against Dallas. I think the Eagles' run game has struggled. I don't think Saquon has a great game, and I think Jalen Hurts has a good game. Throws a couple touchdowns. I think it comes down to the end, but I think the Eagles' defense makes a stop. And I got Philly bouncing back, going to 9-3. Bears going 8-4. I got the Eagles beating the Bears 24-20 on Friday afternoon in Philadelphia. But Justin, can Caleb Williams lead the Bears to their 5th straight win?
No, I get the Eagles here as well, 20-16. The Bears are 8-3 with a -3-point differential. So
Yeah.
Look, they got Pittsburgh. I thought Pittsburgh would beat them last week. They finally beat a team over 500. So credit the Bears for finding a way to win that football game. But again, I'm still not convinced. I think Philly could punch them in the mouth this week, but look, the play calling's not there. Again, like Barkley, one of these games, they just have to feed Barkley 30 times. Just go figure out your running game. Just go figure it out.
Exactly.
Yeah. Maybe this is a week they try to do it. I think they could have success because the Bears defense it's not great. But I think Hurts plays well enough. It does enough in this one. I think they force Caleb Williams to have a couple of interceptions in this one. I think it's a low scoring football game, and the Eagles pull one out here at home.
Yeah, I think they do. I think they end up pulling it out. And you said it. They got out of a game where they just run Saquon. Just keep running Saquon Barkley. Because, it's just outside of that Giants game in Week 8, it's just been a struggle all year. Yeah, the Eagles' offense, it's just been very average. They've had their moments, but it's just been very, very average all season long. Just, if it's been the connection between Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown, has it been getting the running game going? The offensive line has struggled at times. It's been a struggle all year long with the offense. It's just been a struggle. So I think this game is close. I think they cover the 7. I think it's 2. That just shows you that people aren't still at 8-3 aren't buying into the Bears yet. Even at 8-3, they're not buying into the Bears. But I don't think Philadelphia is good enough to blow them out. I think they win, but they win close.
Yeah, yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, I'm one of those people with the Bears that like I have to go. Hey, if they beat the Eagles this week, then yeah, I'll start taking the Bears really seriously. It's somebody that could contend in the NFC. Till I see them beat one of these teams like the Lions or Packers or you know, or like a team like the 49ers or like the Rams as well, then I'll also taking the Bears seriously. But till they win one of these, I kind of I have to see it first. So yeah, is an Eagles team that the Bears could beat because of all the problems they have. And yeah, it feels like the Eagles just like there's just too many mouths to feed on offense. And it's like, yeah, because of the AJ Brown, Jalen Hurts stuff too. They're trying to kind of force feed it. And then too, like I just, 10 carries for Barkley last week. Like I just don't love the play calling either for Philly. You had 3 drives right off the bat with 3 touchdowns, and then the rest of the game you punted 5, 6 times. So I know you missed a field goal there late. So it's just been like that 3rd and 2 late in the game. They throw the ball and Hurts gets a 10-yard sack.
Yeah.
Like it's just like
Yeah.
it's stuff like that this year with them. So I'm with you. I wouldn't be shocked if the Bears knock them off here, but I think the Eagles at home find a way to win.
I think they do too. I think the Eagles win and bounce back and get to 9-3. Now, our team Monday night, our teams are playing against each other. I will be there as the Giants take on the Patriots at Gillette Stadium. Giants come in at 2-10. Patriots come in at 10-2. Giants come in with a 6-game losing streak. Patriots come in with a 9-game winning streak. And for the game, I know Will Campbell is out for the Patriots, but I do still think the Patriots score a lot of points because I think Josh McDaniels is going to be able to game plan around it. You got to McDaniels, I think game plans around it. I think you're going to see, Drake May get the ball out of his hands quick. I think you're going to see, some 12 personnel, see Kyrie's tongue on the field. I think they're going to be able to run the ball. I think Travion Henderson has a big game. I think he went for over 100 against the Bucks. I think he goes for over 100 against the Giants because the Giants' run defense is the worst in the league. It's absolutely pathetic. The Giants' run defense is awful. I do think Jackson Dart, if he plays pretty well. I do think Dart plays pretty well in the game. I think he throws a couple touchdown passes. I think he plays pretty well if he plays in the game. But I just don't think that the Giants defense is going to be able to stop. Is going to be able to stop Drake May or the Patriots run game. I don't think they're going to be, because I think May throws two touchdown passes. I think Travion Henderson has a big game on Monday night. I think it's close and competitive. It comes down to the end. But I'm going to go with the Patriots here to win their 9th in a row. I got the Pats winning this game 28-20 over the Giants. And Justin, can Drake May and the Pats win their 10th in a row?
I think they do. I think they got the Pats this week, 28-21. I do think your Giants keep it close because the old line's banged up, and you saw because Jared Wilson too at the guard, he's doubtful with the ankle injury. Yeah, Campbell was put on IR. Hopefully he's back for the playoffs. And then last week, Milton Williams too's out. He's on IR too, so he's another guy. Hopefully he get back for the playoffs. So the Patriots, the injuries are starting to kind of pile up a bit here. And the O-line last week a little bit looked like last year's at times after Campbell and Wilson went out. So I'm a little worried about that offensive line this week. And they had a quarter that interception. He kind of he sailed one over. He wasn't accurate in the first quarter. He rebounded. He played well. And then Gonzo too got beat by a 4-string wide receiver last week. So
yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
yeah. So I am a little bit worried about this game. Like, whoever plays quarterback, if it's Jameis or Dart, I think they can make some plays. Now, if it's Dart, contain him in the pocket. Don't let him be a runner. But I think the Giants keep this one interesting. I'm a little, this with the injuries kind of piling up here, but I do think they're able to run the ball, and that's going to be the difference of this one. But I do think the Giants keep this thing close because, what was it? I think if games were only like 45 minutes long, I saw the Giants be like 7-3. Like
exactly.
That's just
yeah. I know.
So,
I know. Yeah.
So yeah, like that's why I just think Giants are gonna keep it close. You could probably find a way to lose, but I think it's gonna be close.
Yeah, I think they'll keep it close. But again, the team that's won these kind of games all year, I think wins, and the team that's lost these kind of games all year loses. So yeah, I think it's close into the fourth quarter. I think it's close until the end, but I think the Pats will find a way to win this game. I think they will because as you said, if the Giants if games were 45 minutes long, the Giants would be 7-5 instead of 2-10. That's what that would be the case. The Giants would be 7-5 instead of 2-10 if games were 45 minutes long. I mean, 5 times they've had a 10-point lead on the road, and they've lost all those games, which is crazy. It's why 2 coaches have been fired. It's why Shane Bowen's been fired. It's why Brian Daboll's been fired. I mean, the defense is just completely underachieved for this team. The defense gets the run is absolutely pathetic. The pass rush has not been what it's been expected to be. The offense has been better than expected, but the defense has just been absolutely pathetic. They just didn't have not been able to hold any big leads. But talking about how you're a little bit concerned about this game, we'll talk about what the Pats have to do to avoid an upset on Monday night, and I'll let you go first to talk about what they need to do to avoid an upset on Monday night.
For them, run the football at Trevion Henderson. Just feed them. Even if Stevenson gets a couple carries in there, but just run the football because the Giants haven't been able to stop it all year. You mentioned it a few minutes ago when we were talking about Barkley. That was Barkley's one big game of the year was against the New York Giants. So, run the ball, give the ball off to Henderson. My second one is Dart. Don't is let Dart make Dart be a pocket passer. Keep him in the pocket. Contain him. Don't let him be a runner because that's when he can be dangerous. If he be scramble, pick up some big yardage. So that's my second one. My third one is just play clean football. Cut down the penalties, which they've been doing the last couple of weeks. Don't turn the football over. Don't give the Giants because you're the better team. Don't give them extra possessions. So, and give them a chance here. So those are my three. Run the football well. Keep Dart in the pocket and just play a clean football game.
For me, is your first one is the same one as mine. Run the ball with Trevion Henderson. Because if Trevion Henderson has a big game, they're not going to lose to the Giants. If Henderson has a big game, there's no way they lose. So run the football with Trevion Henderson. For number 2, Drake May just has to continue to play as well as he has all season long. He just has to keep playing as well as he has all year long. And then number 3, they got to convert in the red zone. They got to be better in the red zone because they were really bad. They were eight plays. They didn't score in the red zone against one of the worst defenses in the NFL. So, and I think Will Campbell not being there definitely played a factor in that. But yeah, they have to be better in the red zone. So my 3 are run the ball with Henderson, May play well, and they have to be better in the red zone. If they do all 3 of those things, there's no way that they will lose to the Giants on Monday night. Now, the Patriots won their 9th in a row last week, but it didn't go without a cost because they lost Will Campbell for probably I think 3 or 4 weeks. I'm assuming it's definitely for the Giants. They put on IR today, so it'll be 3 or 4 weeks. So probably the end of the regular season, right?
Yeah, probably. That's what it sounds like.
So probably the end of the regular season. So they lost Will Campbell for probably the end of the regular season. How big of a loss is Will Campbell? Seeing, the games they got after the Giants, they got the Bills and the Ravens back to back. How big of a loss is Will Campbell going to be for this team, the number 4 overall pick?
It's huge because he's been great all year. He's played really, really well. Jared Wilson, too, on his left guard's been playing pretty well, too. And now that means you start Bavarian Lowe, who's going to start at the left tackle spot, which he's awful. I'm not a Lowe fan. He's not very good, and it's a total downgrade. And I said it kind of early, like last week, you kind of saw some flashes of last year's O-line when they got banged up front. And you saw May have 2 seconds, and the ball's got to be out of his hand. So I am concerned because the Giants have a pretty good pass rush here. You got the bye, and then you got 2 weeks of prep for the Bills, but the Bills can get after you. The Ravens defense can get after you. The Jets still fighting. That's a tough defense to go up against. So the next couple of weeks are going to be important. They're important football games on the stretch here. So it's going to be a loss to lose a guy like Will Campbell, who's played really good football, and it's been as good as advertised for this team and helping build this foundation for the offensive line.
Yeah, it looks like it will be a pretty big loss for them there. Yeah, because Vidarian Lowe, who played left tackle last year and really struggled, yeah, he's going to have to step it up. I mean, I think they'll be fighting against the Giants, but really it's going to be, are they going to be able to beat the Bills again? Are they going to be able to beat the Ravens down the stretch? I mean, they're still in really good shape to win the division because even if they lose, say they beat the Giants and they lose the Bills, and the Ravens and the Bills game, if they beat the Jets, the Dolphins, and the Giants, they're going to win the division. Because they have the tiebreaker over the Bills because they have a better division record. So if they win those 3 games against the Jets, the Giants, and the Dolphins, they're going to win the division. So they're still in great shape to win the division. But, yeah, Will Campbell, they're going to be a loss. It'll be interesting to see how that offense plays without him.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be interesting because, you mentioned it up front. The running, do it at the goal line there last week. Was not the only one of my football teams to get stuffed 5 times at the 1-yard line last week in the game. So, very, very frustrating. So, yeah, like the run by got to be better too without Campbell Wilson up front. So, so it's definitely lost, and it stinks that because him and May have such a good rapport this year too. So yeah, it's tough, but yeah, that's a good good point. They're still in good shape to win that division because that Bills Dolphins game there where the Dolphins, I mean, the Bills didn't show up for it could that could loom large now for the Patriots. I forgot about that. So that could really help the Patriots here if they do show a little bit down the stretch.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It definitely does help the Patriots if they struggle down the stretch. But before we wrap up, we'll do on the Giants angle. They finally fired their defensive coordinator Shane Bowen, and it just had to happen. To me, it just had to happen. I mean, he was terrible this year, playing soft zone late in games. When they should have been in man coverage. In the Dallas game, they should have been. In the Denver game, he rushes 3 guys in that game. Then you go to last week again. He was playing soft zone at the end of the game. Enough was enough. Mike Kafka made the move to fire Shane Bowen. I mean, I don't know how big of a difference it's going to be at this point, but it just had to happen.
Yeah. Yeah, it had to happen. It did, and yeah, I don't know how much of an impact it's gonna have at this point in the season, but yeah, this should have happened a couple weeks ago. It didn't for whatever reason. Giants didn't fire him when they fired Dable, but yeah, it needed to happen, and we'll see if it sparks the defense, but who knows?
Oh yeah, well, yeah. It'll improve it, but it'll still really struggle against the run because it's not really the scheme with being how bad they are against the run. It's the players. The players they just have no. Even the players that are pretty good are not good against the run. Dexter Lawrence has struggled against the run this year. Brian Burns has struggled against the run this year. Abdul Carter struggles against the run, and to forget it with the linebackers. Muasau, Flanagan Fowles, Okereke, he struggles against the run. Pretty much the entire defense struggles against the run. So I don't think it's going to make that big of a difference. But maybe, in some of these games late in the year, say they have a lead late against, Washington or Minnesota or the Raiders, maybe they hold that lead instead of blowing that lead.
Yeah, maybe you do, and it puts you guys in a little bit better position. And but yeah, the soft zone coverage is, I don't like. I never like that at end of games because you're asking for quarterback come down, especially in 2025. You're asking for a quarterback come down and beat you like that, and yeah, it's just some of the games that they've blown are kind of unexcusable. So yeah, it's they can't stop the run. That might not get much better, but look, cause what was the player? Was it Burns after that Denver one? Like
Yeah,
he was caught in the mic, like,
oh yeah, like ripping him right there, and that's probably right there where he should have gotten fired. He should have gotten
yeah,
fired right there because they still had a legitimate shot at that point. They were 2-5. They still had it wasn't completely the season wasn't over, so that should have been the moment where they should have taken action. I think at this point it's too late to make really any kind of difference, but I think he just had to get out of the building because he was so bad.
yeah. Like it was just time to get rid of him. It should have happened then, but it didn't for whatever reason. So yeah, it's the right move, and we'll see if how much this defense can get any better. But yeah, it's probably marginal at best.
Exactly. Now moving on to the team that is behind the Patriots in the AFC East, that is the Bills, and they will head to Pittsburgh this week to face the Steelers. And I think it's a close competitive game, but I think the running game is going to be the difference. I think that James Cook's going to have a big day on the ground. I think he's going to have a big day on the ground. I think Josh Allen's going to throw a couple touchdowns. I think Aaron Rodgers will keep up, but I think that Bills defense makes a big stop against Rodgers at the end. And I'm going Bills here. I'm going to go with the Bills to keep pace with the Patriots in the AFC East. I got the Bills winning this game 27-23. But Justin, can Rodgers and the Steelers bounce back and keep pace with the Ravens in the AFC North?
I think they keep it close, but I got the Bills too here, 20-27. I think there could be a lot of points in this one. I don't know how many stops either team's gonna get. But I think the Bills convert in the red zone. I think the Steelers kind of kick a couple field goals in this one. I know they say Rodgers is possible, but if his left wrist is fractured, how is he gonna hand the ball off?
I know,
I don't.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, and if he wasn't even healthy enough to be the third string emergency quarterback last week, I think Rudolph's gonna play, unless they really shoot Rodgers up with something. I think you're gonna get a Rudolph, but I guess we'll see. But look, I know the Steelers, they struggle defensively. I know their defense, they can't cover anything, but and I know they don't have much of a running game, but I think in this one against the Bills, everybody's kind of had some success on the Bills, so I think the Steelers will have some. But I also think like the Bills too just have to like unleash Josh Allen. Like I thought last week, there's way too many first and second downs where they're just trying to run the football. It's like you got Josh
Yeah.
Allen, let him unleash it. Like, and then they get
Exactly.
third and
Yeah.
long. You get sacked 8 times. So unleash Josh Allen.
Yeah, exactly. I think they have to do that, and I think they will be starting to do that by the end of the season. I think they will do it because playoffs they're not guaranteed to get into the playoffs, so I think they're going to start doing that. I think the Bills are going to make a run here. I do. I think the Bills do because they got the Bengals, they got you guys, they got the Browns, they got the Eagles. I think they end with the Jets. I think the Bills make a run here. I wouldn't be surprised if the Bills went out. To be honest, I would not be surprised because they do that. The Bills do this in December. The Bills kind of struggle in the month of November. Once December hits, the Bills definitely they start picking it up. Because I remember back, I think with Mac Jones' rookie year, you guys had like a 2-game lead on them, and they ended up winning the division. I
Mhm.
remember 2 years ago, the Dolphins had, I think, a 2.5 game lead on them, and they won the division. So I think this is the time of year where the Bills pick it up. No, the Patriots are still in a really good position to win the division because, as I said earlier, all they got to do is beat the Giants, the Dolphins, and the Jets to win the division. But I do think that the Bills are going to stay in this race because I think the Bills always pick it up late in the year, and I think that's going to continue, and that's why I think they win this week.
Yeah, I'm with you, and yeah, I wouldn't be shocked the Bills go on a run here. I felt a lot better about that Patriot Bill game with the Patriots winning, before Wilson and Campbell got hurt last week. So now, yeah, it's a little bit worried some, and but yeah, you're right. The Bills usually always go on a run this time of year. They always kind of figure it out, and that was Brady Belichick's thing. It was always, season starts after Thanksgiving. That's
Absolutely,
usually what the Bills do
and
as well.
that's what Kraft said yesterday. Season starts after Thanksgiving. That's what Kraft said yesterday.
Yeah, yeah. It does. So that's always been the Patriots thing, and yeah, the Bills have always been great at that too. So wouldn't be shocked they go on a run here, finish in cruise here. But yeah, hopefully it won't be enough to win the division, but it is. Patriots injuries now. You never know.
Exactly. We'll see what happens there. Now we got an AFC East matchup, AFC South matchup between the Texans and the Colts, and I think this is a close competitive game. But I'm going to go with the Texans here. I'm going to go with the Texans here because I just don't trust Daniel Jones to beat a top team because you saw last week against the Chiefs had a 20-9 lead and couldn't do anything on offense. In the Ram game, I know we got screwed by A.D. Mitchell, but he threw a pick late in that game. And then the Steeler game, you turn the ball over. They turned the ball over a bunch of times. So I think this game is close and competitive, but I think the Texans pass rush. I know the Colts offensive line is good, but I think the Texans pass rush is the difference. And I think C.J. Stroud, it looks like he's going to be back this week. Makes less mistakes than Daniel Jones, and that's why I think the Texans come in there and pull the upset. I got the Texans pulling the upset, 23-17. But Justin, can the Colts bounce back this week and take control in the AFC South?
Yeah, I got the Texans as well with you here, 23-20. I really like the way the Texans team's playing right now. Even if Stroud doesn't play, Davis Mills 3-0, and a big part of that is he hasn't turned the football over. And I know that offensive line is not great, but I think they're getting a little bit better every week. I don't think they're the total turnstile we saw the first couple weeks of the year. And yeah, you mentioned that Texans defense it's one of the best in the league right now. You could argue it's the best, and I think they get after Daniel Jones because the last couple of weeks he's kind of turned back into the guy we saw at the Giants, and it's been most. I know he didn't throw a pick last week, but threw one against Atlanta, threw 3 against Pittsburgh. He's turned the ball over a little bit more now, and Texans can bottle up Jonathan Taylor, and they make Daniel Jones beat you with his arm. I like the Texans' chance in this one.
Yeah, I do too. I do. I definitely like taking chances. And the question is should the winner of this game be the favorite to win the AFC South? If it's Indy, absolutely, because they'd have a big lead on Houston. They'd have the lead on Jacksonville. But if it's the Texans, I don't. I still I can't say that with total confidence because they would still be in third place, and the Jacksonville is still ahead of them. So if it's Indy, I would say yes. If it's Houston, even though I really like the way Houston's playing, and I probably think they're actually the best to me, they're the team that has the highest ceiling of all these teams in the AFC South. I'm just going to say no because they're in third place. So if it's Indy, yes. If it's Houston, no.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you on that because Indy still has Jacksonville twice here, and the Texans, if it comes down to it, they got swept by. Yeah, they got or no, they did. Oh yeah, I forgot they came back, so they did get the split
They
there.
split
But
with Jacksonville. Yep.
yeah, I forgot because they were down 19 points in that fourth quarter. But yeah, because the Texans still have a little bit tough tougher because they do still have Kansas City. They still got to go to the play at the Chargers. So I know the Colts next couple of weeks got Jacksonville twice coming up here, but yeah, I just think the Texans, they lose this game, they're 3 back with not much to play. And they need and it'd be tough with the Colts and Jacksonville still playing each other twice the next couple of weeks. So yeah, I don't think they'd be able to make up ground, but if the Colts win, I think they're the favorite because I don't look Jacksonville's better. Cohen's done a nice job, but I don't like if that team gets in the playoffs, I think whoever they play in the first round probably wins by 2 scores.
Yeah, and the thing is even if the Colts still have to play them twice, I think they get at least a split against them.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think they get the split. So yeah, so I'm with you. I think the Colts right now much better shape than the Texans if the Texans end up losing this football game.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we will move on to a matchup in the NFC between the Rams and the Panthers. And right now, as we said last week, we asked the question, who's the best team in the NFC, Rams or Eagles? The Rams definitely proved why they were the best team in the NFC last week, and the Eagles proved why they were not the best team. But the Rams right now 9-2. Right now they're the best team in football, and they've won 4 of their last 5 games by double digits. And I think that trend continues against the Panthers, who have been probably the most inconsistent team in the league this year. Their offense has been so up and down. Their defense has been up and down. And I think Matthew Stafford has a big game against their defense. I think Bryce Young, I think he plays okay, but I think he turns the ball over a couple of times. And I got the Rams winning this one by double digits. I got the Rams here 31-20 over the Panthers. But Justin, can Young and the Panthers bounce back and pull the upset at home?
No, I don't think so. I got the Rams 20-16 in this one. The way Stafford's playing, the last 8 games right now, he's got 25 touchdowns to 0 INTs. I'm a Patriot fan, but and May's been great. But Stafford deserves the MVP. There's no question about it.
Yep.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, he's playing the best. He's the best player in the sport right now. The way he's playing, so and that Rams defense is just is special too. And they're gonna get after Bryce Young. I think it's gonna be a rough day. And thing with the Panthers and Bryce Young, there's just no consistency with his team. That was an ugly one Monday night. I think he's got another ugly performance coming up against this LA Rams team that's going to get after him. Didn't make it tough for him. So won't be shocked if Carolina hangs around for a bit, but I think the Rams are just a better football team.
All righty, so we got Shedeur Sanders making his second start of his NFL career as the Browns take on the Niners. And last week, Shedeur, he played okay. He played okay. He won the game. I mean, a big reason why they won the game is because their defense sacked Geno Smith 10 times. But Shedeur Sanders, he played better than I thought. He looked. Let me say something. Last week, he looked better than Dylan Gabriel. He looked better than Tyler Shuck. He looked like a guy that probably should have been taken in early second round last week. First week, he looked like a 5th round pick. But last week, he looked like an early – no, he didn't look like a first-round pick, but he looked like an early 2. He looked like an early second-round pick. But I think he's going to have some trouble with Robert Saleh. He's going to have some trouble with Robert Saleh, and he's going to turn the ball over once or twice. But I do think the Browns' defense is going to keep him in it. I think the Browns' defense keeps him in it. But at the end of the day, I'm going to take the team with more talent. Now, I wouldn't be surprised there's an upset here if the Browns' defense carries them to a win against the Niners. But I'm going to right now, I'm going to go with the team with more talent, and I'm going to go with the team that's 8-4 and in the wild card race. And I'm going to go with the Niners to go to 9-4 here. I got the Niners beating the Browns 20-17. But Justin, can Shedeur Sanders win his second start? Could he be 2-0 as a starter in the NFL?
No, I got the Niners 17-13. What the Ravens did not do last week, what the Ravens did is blitz them, and I think that's exactly what Robert Saleh is going to do this week. Look, thing with Shedeur is, and I forgot to mention this last week, and when we talked, like Shedeur always had the tools to go up higher in the draft. The problem was the maturity level is why I think a big reason why he fell in the 5th round too. And he looked really good last week. Now the Raiders are not a functional organization. They're, we'll get to them. What a mess they are right now. But I'll give him credit. He played really well, and they got the win. He made a couple of really nice throws. And look, you got to see what you have in Shedeur Sanders these next couple of weeks because it's not Gabriel. You got 2 first-round picks. I wouldn't use. Personally, I wouldn't use anyone on a quarterback this year in the first round. Maybe later in the first round. I wouldn't pick one in the top 10 right now in the first round for a quarterback, but Browns will do what the Browns do. But hey, I think the Niners offense does enough in this one, but Purdy didn't look good either. I don't know if he's totally healthy yet either. Like Max played well. I wouldn't be shocked if, because Purdy didn't look great, but I have the Niners winning a close one, 17-13.
Yeah, I think the Niners win it close here. I think they stay in that last wild card spot in the NFC. We got a matchup in the NFC between the Cards and the Bucks. Baker Mayfield might not play in this game. He might play, he might not play. But regardless, I do think the Bucks win this game. I think they end up winning this game. I think Baker is going to play, and I think they end up winning the game. I think Baker, even though he's banged up, I think he plays pretty. I think he plays pretty well in the game, and I do think Jacoby Brissett turns the ball over a couple times. I think it comes down to the end, but I'm going right now. I'm going Bucks here, 27-20 over the Cards. But Justin, can Brissett help the Cards snap their 3-game losing streak?
I think they do. I got the Cardinals 27-21. Yeah, you mentioned it. Baker, the injury right now, I'm not sure. And this Bucks team can't really stop anything right now. And I know the Cardinals have 0 run game. And I think Brissett can play pretty well against that secondary this week. And I think he has a pretty good game. And I think he does enough in this one. And even if Baker plays, I still feel like Arizona can win because it's since the last couple of weeks, these injuries for the Bucks just continue to pile up, and I don't know if I just don't trust right now. I don't trust the Cardinals a lot, but with all the injuries that the Bucks have, I don't really trust their defense to get many stops. So I'm going to take the Cardinals in this one.
All righty, the Falcons head to MetLife Stadium and take on the Jets this week. And I think this is a close, low-scoring game, but I think Kirk Cousins does enough. I think Cousins does enough for this for the Falcons. I think the Falcons defense sacks Tyrod Taylor 3 or 4 times. Got 2 veterans here, Tyrod Taylor and Kirk Cousins going at it, but I think Cousins does more than Tyrod Taylor here, and the Falcons have the better roster, so I'm going to go with the Falcons, go to 5-7. I got the Falcons 20-13 over the Jets, but Justin, can Taylor lead the Jets to an upset win at home?
No, I got the Falcons as well. 2016, ugly football game. Think the Falcons got off the mat after last week. The Falcons got off the mat with a nice win there against the Saints. Jets playing hard. I think the defense plays well in this one, but I think Drake London's the difference maker, and I got the Falcons win a close one up in MetLife.
All righty, we got the Jags and the Titans going at it this week. Jags 7-4 in the AFC playoff picture. Titans, the worst team in football at 1-10. I think the game is close and competitive, but at the end of the day, I got to go with the team that's in the playoff race. I'm going to go with the Jags here, 27-19 over the Titans. But Justin, can Cam Ward lead the Titans to an upset win against their division rival?
I think they keep it close, but I think Jags 23-18. I think for this Jags team, they got maybe a little bit of a look ahead with the Colts on deck next week at home. Trevor Lawrence has some Jameis Winston in him. He's, like every week he'll put up 3 or 4 touchdowns, but he'll throw 3 or 4 interceptions. So, because they're lucky to win that football game last week. I think he plays decent in this one. I think they do enough, but I do think Cam Ward in that offense does enough to hang around, but I don't think they do enough here. And I got Jacksonville getting the win here. Headed 8-4.
You're right about Trevor Lawrence. He does throw picks. He'll throw touchdowns. He'll throw interceptions. And last week, when they won that game in overtime against the Cardinals, it definitely showed that he does. Shows that he does exactly that. We got the Saints traveling to Miami to face the Dolphins, and I think this is a close game, but I'm going to go with the Dolphins here. I think Tua outplays Tyler Shuck. I think the Dolphins win this one. I got them winning their 3rd in a row. I got the Dolphins winning 28-21 over the Saints. And Justin, who you got here?
Yeah, I got the Dolphins 24-21. Disappointed with the way the Saints played. Can you I really like Taysom Hill as a runner, but can you just let Shuck go out there and throw? And just see what you have in him. Yeah. I know they were awful in the red zone last week. Just kind of trust him to throw it around. Just see what you got with him in the next couple of weeks. But I got the Dolphins. I think Devin Achane is going to be able to run the ball all over them, and I'm going to take the Dolphins here at home.
All righty, so we got a matchup in Seattle with a team that is facing their former quarterback, Sam Darnold, facing his former team as Sam Darnold and the Seahawks take on the Vikings and J.J. McCarthy. He won't play this game. Will be Max Brosmer for the Seahawks. And I think
New Hampshire legend.
New Hampshire legend, and this is going to be a blowout. I think Seattle wins this one big. I think Sam Darnold embarrasses his former team. I think he throws a couple touchdown passes. I think the Seahawks defense forces 3 or 4 turnovers. I think Sam Darnold throws 2 or 3 touchdown passes. I think this game is a blowout. I got Seattle 34-10 over the Vikings. But Justin, can the Vikings defense carry them to an upset win against their former quarterback?
I don't think so. I got the Seahawks 24-7. I think the thing is, Flores knows what Sam Darnold doesn't like here. We know that's pressure. Can he bring enough of that in this football game to win? Maybe, but on the other side, Big Mac Roberts, a guy. I'm glad he's getting the start. I know he played well in the preseason. I'm rooting for him, but this is a tough defense to go up against and a tough environment to go play at for your first career start. So I'm rooting for him. I hope he goes up there and lights them up, but I think it's gonna be a rough afternoon for him. And the thing is too, he's more of a pocket passer, like he can move, but like that's not really his strength. So if he's sitting back there and Seattle gets a ton of pressure on him, it could be a long day. So I got Seattle 24-7.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be a long day against the Seahawks defense. It's going to be a long day, and the Vikings. I mean, they didn't franchise Darnold, who's clearly was clearly last year much better than JJ McCarthy was this year. I mean, the Vikings, with the way JJ McCarthy's playing, if this continues, they really got to start questioning: is this the guy? Is this the guy? I mean, I know he's only started 5-6 games. I get it, but he's been the worst starting quarterback in the league this year.
Yeah, he's been bad. I'm surprised because Kevin O'Connell's done a really good job with the quarterbacks, and I thought, he'd get JJ McCarthy to be a franchise guy, but that's not been the case. And yeah, you got to start questioning it here. And I know it's only been a handful of games here, but what you've seen hasn't been great. You kind of saw a couple weeks ago with Justin Jefferson being frustrated. So yeah, it's you definitely have to question it because it hasn't been because they had Sam Darnold there. They could even have Daniel Jones. They had him last
Yeah.
year at the end of the year. So that's another guy you could have gone and kind of signed. So yeah, O'Connell's done a good job as the head coach here, but with the quarterbacks. But this one looks like he kind of missed on the quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, Sam Darnold was just much better last year than JJ McCarthy was this year. I mean, it's night and day. I mean, it's been so bad. I know it's only 6 games. You really can't give up on him if you're the Vikings. But first year, he missed the entire first season with an injury. The second year, the year 2, he's been bad. If he's bad again in year 3, you have to move on. I mean, but I mean, the thing is now, Justin Jefferson is starting to lose patience, and that's the issue. That's the issue. Justin Jefferson. I mean, he's had to go through so many quarterbacks, and they thought this was the guy. JJ McCarthy was the guy, and for the first 6 games, he clearly has not looked like he is the guy.
No, yeah, he clearly has not looked like the guy so far. And it's got to be frustrating. Yeah, it's been frustrating for Justin Jefferson, and because they have the weapons offensively to do it. They got the running backs too, to be a really good offensive team. It just hasn't happened so far. So yeah, there's a lot of frustration right now. I bet going on in that locker room, and yeah, the big spot for Brosmer to see if he can take over. JJ McCarthy and see if maybe he can be the franchise guy. I hope he can, but it's it's going to be tough, and it's not going to be an easy one for him to kind of go do that. But yeah, you got to start questioning JJ McCarthy, and again, how quickly do you pull the plug on JJ if the rest of the year doesn't go great?
Exactly. It looked like this team will miss the playoffs. They're going to miss the playoffs, and yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens up happening in Minnesota. But there are a lot of issues there at the quarterback position. But we'll move on to an AFC West matchup in LA as the Raiders take on the Chargers. Even though there'll be a lot of Raider fans there, it ain't going to matter because I think the Chargers win this by 2 scores. I think Herbert throws a couple touchdown passes. I think Max sacks Geno Smith a couple of times. I think the Raiders compete in this game because it's a division game, but I think the Chargers eventually win this one by double digits. I got the Chargers here 27-17. But can the Raiders get revenge from week 2 and upset their division rival?
No, I got Chargers here as well, 27-13 here. So my brother was telling me, I guess Carroll. It's been very similar to McDaniels. Like he just protects all of his guys he had with him in Seattle, and he throws everybody else under the bus.
So that's why Chip Kelly got fired.
Yeah. Which I know a couple weeks ago they were like they don't think Chip Kelly's a problem. It's the offensive line is a big part of it, which good when you get sacked 10 times and Geno holds on the ball too long. So I'll find out tonight, but I don't like to ask them about the Raiders anymore because they're both broken. With this franchise, I don't blame them. But in this one, I just think the Chargers, Harbaugh come off a bye. Herbert has a big game. I don't know. I don't know how much this Raider team is just bad right now. It's just so dysfunctional. Greg Olson's now the new OC. He's been there. It's 3rd time he's the intern OC. Like I don't know what you're gonna get out of them. That line, it's so bad that
I know.
It's tough to blame it. That's the issue. So I think to be a rough day for the Raiders. They lose by a couple scores.
Yeah, how many times has Greg Olson been the Raiders' offensive coordinator? I think it's you said about 3 times. Greg Olson has always somehow been with the finds his way to being with the Raiders. He just keeps coming back. Does Mark Davis like him or something?
He must. I could try to find out tonight. But yeah, he must. They must. Mark Davis must like him.
Yeah, I bet, because he just keeps finding his way back with the Raiders for some reason. He just keeps finding his way back. But yeah, I think the Chargers win this one by double digits and get to 8-4 and stay in the playoff picture in the AFC. Now, to wrap up the show, we'll talk about the Broncos and Commanders, and I don't get why NBC kept this game as a Sunday night game, but they did. Mariota will play again for the Commanders. The slate might not just isn't that good this week. I think that's probably why.
I think that's why. Yeah.
But I think the Broncos win this one. They win by 2 scores. I think their defense stacks Mariota 3 or 4 times. I think they're able to move the ball on offense. I think they put up 30 points. And I think they win this one by 2 scores, and the Commanders lose their 7th straight. I got the Broncos here 30-17 over the Commanders. But Justin, can Mariota lead the Commanders to an upset win and help snap their 6-game losing streak?
No, I got the Broncos here 30-13. This should be Bo's best game of the year. If it's not and he struggles in this one, then there's a lot of questions then with Bo Nix and this team. Coming off the bye, I think that defense is going to travel. They're going to get after Mariota. It's been a rough day for him. So I think this Denver offense should be able to do whatever they want defensively. They tee off of Mariota. They win by a couple scores.
Yeah, I think the Broncos win by a couple scores here and keep pace with the Patriots for the number 1 seed in the AFC. Now that's going to wrap up this edition of Sports Talk with RJ, but we'll be back in about 15 minutes to talk about the big game in Ann Arbor this week and the 4th unveiling of the college football rankings. So make sure you tune in for that.